Revelation and Revenge of the Nerds. Let me explain this one. Back, I don't even know when that movie came out, stupid Hollywood movie, back in the 1980s or something. Revenge of the Nerds. It was about these young guys that went off to college or something, and they were nerds. Back then, if you were a nerd, it meant you were just kind of into computers and kind of a geek or whatever else. I don't even know if they still use, I mean, they have the candy nerds, but I don't know if nerd is still a derogatory term for computer people or not, or I don't know. But I remember watching it back in all those, years ago and whatever else, and definitely not recommending it. But the jocks and sports guys, they picked on the geeks, the nerds, and as a result, the nerds then got back at them and they outsmarted them and all these things and whatever. And it got me to thinking about that. I was thinking about it last night before I went to bed, and I was thinking, all the stuff that we're going through right now with the data mining centers and the AI and all this stuff, I thought it's kind of a real world revenge of the nerds. The geeks shall inherit the earth. I know Gerald Celente, he'll say that occasionally. These computer people, the ones that aren't men that are familiar with manual labor, they're coming out with all sorts of technological ways that they can take people's money and enslave people and whatever else. You have Elon Musk, and he's going to be a trillionaire or something like this. I saw, he's the world's richest man and all these other things. How did he get there? Through hard labor? No. Has he ever done anything like this? Split this stuff? My son and I split all this firewood. Has Elon Musk ever split a piece of firewood? I doubt it. He's not a real man, in my opinion. I mean, okay, if you're a man, you can work with computers and whatever, don't get me wrong, but you ought to do some kind of physical activity, physical labor. It builds the right kind of character. It doesn't lead to the whole revenge of the nerds situation. But what is the whole point of the book of Revelation? Obviously, God pouring out his judgment on the nation of Israel. But how did the nation of Israel get to where it is? Through usury and all the financial scheming and everything that they do with the stock market, which is what nerds would do, okay? What a bunch of little geeks would do. People that don't know how to work with their hands. Unskilled technology people. And of course, right now I'm probably taking off some little, fruitcake in his, in a little basement thing or something. He's down there with his computer and I'm going to hack into your computer or whatever else. Last time I did my one video showing the Dewey Reams there, where the Jesuits said we aren't even going to use the Greek because it's been foully corrupted by Jews. That's what they wrote in 1610. And I did that, and all of a sudden I was having problems with my computer. And I've done that many times. I've had a sermon come out and I rebuke something, and all of a sudden my computer's getting hacked and my system's crashing and whatever, just by sheer coincidence. Yeah, sure. And it's always irritated me. I remember back when the whole internet thing came out, the internet craze, in the 1990s and whatever, and going into the early 2000s, and you had to have an email address. If you didn't, you're just nobody. And I remember I used to make fun of it, and I'd laugh at the thing, www, I'd make fun. And I resisted computers for a long time. And then finally it was okay, our family got a computer, we have a family computer, so we have an email address, and then it was just sort of, and I didn't really want to be on there a whole lot, and, hated the stupid computer and Windows Millennium Edition back in those years. But, and then finally my oldest brother actually told me about YouTube, and I thought, at the time I was saved and I was studying, a lot, and I thought, maybe I could make a few videos for YouTube, just kind of put it out there as a witness for Jesus Christ, and here I am today. So, things have changed a little bit. I still don't like computers though. But, it's just modern warfare. I don't have a whole lot of respect for it. And I know the soldiers in the past would have agreed with me. You get all these, Baron von Richthofen, the Red Baron in Germany, World War I fighter pilot, and what was his name? Mikhail Wittmann, the famous Tiger tank commander, killed in World War II, and You know, you get all the different Audie Murphy and things. You know, really brave, you know, little small guy in the American military. Quite the, had a lot of courage. Gunnery Sergeant Carlos Hathcock II, famous Marine sniper from Vietnam. And I mean, there are so many war heroes. These guys just did incredible stuff. Bravery like you wouldn't believe. And now what do you get? Drone warfare, you know. Hiding in trenches, hiding in little holes, flying your drones. Wow, what bravery. You know, I'm on the battlefield right now. I'm out here walking around trying to, you know, keep my senses alert so I can see, is anybody going to, any enemy combatants. Thankfully, I'm not in a thing, but just trying to prove a point. And all of a sudden I hear, and there, oh, there's a drone, and it comes and flies down and hits me, and some guy's far away or whatever else. Nice. And we're going to use the electric frequencies, and we're going to go and we're going to hack into your computer, and you, and that's the book of Revelation, okay? The mark of the beast, and all the whole system of the surveillance system. And you know, I literally saw something yesterday where there was they were saying that there's some data mining center in Kentucky that they want to put in, and unfortunately part of the area where that they're developing, it kind of goes into a graveyard. But you know, don't worry, because we're just going to dig the bodies up and move them someplace else. Don't worry, we'll pay for it. What? If it was my relative, I'd be saying, you know, over my dead body. That's not going to be happening. And you know, I'm glad to see some people are pushing back against the whole data mining center thing and the flock cameras and whatever. And I think people, you know, especially here in America, they're in hyperdrive trying to build all this stuff. And people need to fight back against it. Need to say, no, we're not okay with that. We don't want your high-tech nightmare world. But the nerds do. And they've been pushed around, and they need to bring these things in. We need to keep you safe by having cameras inside your car. Okay. And the problems that will create are just insane. Well, but we are trying to keep you safe, Mr. Denlinger. And we need to keep you safe by having artificial intelligence watch every move you make to keep you safe. No, actually, nerd, I don't need you. Do your little attack and whatever else, you know, and then hack into my computer and your little stuff and your hidden little things, and you know. I mean, gone are the days, I guess, when you'd have a real man that would come up and say, hey, I have a problem with you, Brian Denlinger. I'm going to confront you or whatever, travel there to meet you or something, and I'm going to talk to you face to face. Or no, we're just going to hack into your computer. You know, okay, nerd. But the interesting thing about it is, you have kingdoms that were set up through war down through the centuries. This man comes in, he conquers this king conquers that king, these great armies, they fight, they come in, they move into this area, they take over this area, whatever else, and those kingdoms can last for hundreds of years. America, of course, would be one of those kingdoms. It's been around for a long time, but it got here through war. It wasn't peaceful negotiations, it was war that made America what it is today. A lot of fighting. You say, well, what are the nerds going to bring in when they get their revenge on us blue collar workers? You know, we're the bad guys. You know, toxic masculine. You know, look at that wood back there, splitting that by hand. Oh, leads to toxicity. Okay, my trucks and things that I have and whatever and four-wheelers and whatever else and guns and whatnot. Toxic, very toxic. Yeah, okay. Well then, how long is your little kingdom going to last there, nerds? Oh, 7 years. Less than 2 presidential terms, and it starts to break down even before it gets through the whole thing. Let me show you that in the book of Revelation. Just, it absolutely blows my mind. Revelation chapter 16. Get off my hand, mosquito. That's another thing I saw, you know, that, oh, they're genetically modifying mosquitoes and all this other stuff, you know, to put vaccines into people because they won't come into the doctor's office, you know. So we're going to have mosquitoes and whatever else come out, and we'll send out our armies of mosquitoes and ticks and things. We're going to genetically modify everything. And wrath of God is going to fall on these wicked people. But Revelation chapter 16, verse 8, and the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of God, which hath power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory. You know, that's the thing that blows my mind too. You'd think that these little scrawny geeks that come out, the little nerds that are out there, you'd think that they'd be more like submissive towards God, maybe like physically weaker and things, because they are. And yet they're some of the most wicked, conniving little jerks that you'd ever want to meet. I've met some of these guys. They're just evil little creatures. But then you get some guys, I mean, I've known, you know, log truck drivers, loggers, and all kinds of really big, you know, huge guys, just gigantic guys, 300 plus pound guys. And they're some of the most gentle, you know, humble men you'd ever want to meet. Do anything for you. Pretty incredible. But these little guys, they get, you know, scorched with great heat there by the Lord, and they're repenting not, and they're blaspheming God in heaven. Wicked little things. But verse 10, Revelation 16, verse 10, and the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness. And they gnawed their tongues for pain, and blasphemed the God of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. Why are they not repenting? Because they've lost the ability to. They no longer have the mind. They no longer are able to think and repent. All their little technologies that they're coming actually sear their conscience. And they get to the point where they can't get saved. Once you take that mark of the beast, once you get this you know, interface or whatever in your head or whatever else, you're not going to be able to repent. But it's interesting because why is their kingdom full of darkness? I mean, don't they have flashlights? Don't they have headlights or, you know, solar or whatever else? No, because the Lord wipes out all of it. You know, and this whole thing, all the scary stuff that they're doing and all these horrible, oh no, you know, our data centers and our flock cameras and our Project Maven smart system and our all these different things and the technologies that are coming together to form the nightmare reality, the dystopian future and everything. It's all based on one thing. Okay? Let me show you. I'll have to demonstrate here, give you a little science. But they're just building up this huge big system to get revenge on all the people that have, you know, all these toxic movements and everything else. Oh, it's just so bad. Yeah. Well, the revenge of the nerds, what God's going to do to them, I'll show you. Mostly, or I guess a little bit over halfway through the time of Jacob's trouble, I'll show you what the Lord's going to do to make them gnaw their pains or their tongues in pain, and they'll just go crazy. You want to see? Here's what the Lord does. Boom. Shuts the power off. And they're down there. What do we do? What do we do? And here's the whole secret to this whole thing. This is the real purpose of this video. The whole dystopian future is based on one thing: electricity. Now, if I was truly believing that I was going to go into the time of Jacob's trouble, I would learn how to get away from the power grid and how to live without electricity. And then when the mark of the beast system comes around and they start to do all this horrible stuff, take out the electricity. Fairly simple. Move to some place where you can survive without electricity. You know, and I'm not saying it's just going to be wonderful and peaceful, because it won't be. The wrath of God is coming upon the whole earth. But just take down the power grid. That's all you'd have to do in the time of Jacob's trouble. We're not there yet. But the whole point is, it's really kind of I look at the whole thing and it's just this, the nightmare future and whatever. It's so easy to get away from it. Just get away from electricity. There's so many people, you know, we're being tracked and traced wherever we go. It's just a reality. Well, maybe for you, but not for me, because you see, I don't have a smartphone. I don't have a cell phone. Oh, that's not possible. You can't live that way. I did for most of my life. Why do I need one now? I mean, I understand why people have them. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is, the whole thing is pretty easy to get away from. I mean, I live in an area where there's not a whole lot of things going on here in northern Maine. It's kind of a dead area and whatever. If I want, culture, I can always go someplace else. But I live up here by choice. We had, back during the scamdemic, the Burger Kings, there were 3 of them, Holton, Presque Isle, and Caribou, and all 3 shut down. We have no Burger King in northern Maine. Good. I'm glad. One thing I do miss about it, though, the one in Presque Isle especially, they had it, you could actually get your food and go ahead and sit in an old train car. We never got Burger King food, but we did go into the train car and things, and old vintage train cars, all oak, interior, really neat. But they took the train car away, so that's a little bit of a bummer. But they turned the Burger King into a car wash. So, but washing your car is more important anyhow than getting burgers and whatever else and toxic stuff from Burger King. But again, it just the fear factor and all the control and everything else. I remember some conspiracy people, they brought out this documentary the one time, and it was showing stuff about like the Wizard of Oz and things, and you got the man behind the curtain, and he's just this little scrawny guy. He's not the big, and ironically, if you go back to Isaiah chapter 14 verse 12, it talks about Lucifer and how that goes down through the passage there, and it's talking about how the people are going to be shocked basically when they see him. Is this the man? Is this really this is the guy that was making all the problems? Compared to God, he's nothing. He's just this little imp. Almost like he's the king of all the children of pride. Or another way to say it in the modern vernacular would be king of all the nerds. Satan is he's the nerd king. So just kind of an interesting thing. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. Kind of an interesting situation, because Satan rarely, if ever, manifests himself in front of a Christian to attack them. Very rarely. His little devil spirits and things like this. I mean, the devil spirit that appeared in that one video of mine, that spoke in the one, not appeared, but spoke in one of the videos. You can hear the recording. I showed 3 different audio files, 2 different cameras, and a recorder, voice recorder. None of them have audio spikes where you can clearly hear the thing, and it didn't register on my equipment. Pretty wild stuff. But it whispered, "What?" That's what it said. Or it sounded like it said, "What?" Like that. I mean, they're supposed to be so strong and so powerful, and they're in control of the world. Why not speak like a man? Why not appear physically? Because they're cowards. They're of their father, the devil. The devil is a coward. I mean, he's powerful and everything, very intelligent being and whatever else. If the Lord lets him go after a Christian, well, you'll get killed. I realize that, but the Lord protects us. Lord gives us things to do, and he keeps us safe from the devil and his minions. But this whole system that's coming, and I'm not saying, it's not going to be bad. It's going to be very bad, because the nerds are going to really mess things up. They're going to really do a lot of bad things. They're going to make a lot of mistakes. I mean, the accidents that have already come as a result of autonomous driving and all this other stuff, it's just going to get worse and worse. And we're going to have computerized this and we're going to make everything so streamlined. It's going to work so good. Work so good at messing people up is what it's going to do. But that's the future. It's a future I don't want to be part of. If you look around this shop, all analog type of stuff. I don't need some stupid computerized lathe, AI or whatever else to try to be out here turning things. As I've showed before in one of my other videos, I've been making little spinning tops there. You can see some of them inside there. I'm trying to keep the dust off of them. That's why they're in this little tote, because they have to go then and be finished with linseed oil. I don't need some stupid computer trying to make tops. I use my manual lathe here with my tools on the wall there. I have a whole collection of axes over here. A lot of my axes on the walls there. crosscut saws up here I inherited from this place, pretty neat. That one up top, that single saw up there, just one-man saw, that was my grandfather's saw. I like manual analog type of things. You know why? Because I'm not a nerd. But you little nerds, you want to get back at me, don't you? Oh, you're just gritting your little teeth right now, just biting your little fingernails. How can we get him? We have to get him. We have to do something. We'll hide and we'll try to get him, and maybe we can get it in his bank account, and we'll do other things. Someday you're going to stand before my God, and you're going to give an account of what you've done. And before then, if you make it into the future, you're going to be weeping and wailing and gnashing your teeth when your power gets cut off and your kingdom is destroyed. So look forward to seeing that when we're up in heaven watching it. So don't be afraid of these wicked little nerds that are trying to build up for their little revenge on all the rest of us. Do what you can to fight their satanic systems of technology. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, thank you for watching.